Hey guys, how you doing? My name is Jesse, and today I want to talk to you about the fear of driving or having anxiety or panic attacks while driving. I'm about 33 years old. I have actually wrestled with this fear since I was 16. To give you a little history, it started more so when I was about 12. I started getting anxiety and panic attacks, and yeah, it was a long time ago. So back then, my parents didn't understand what they were. They didn't know how to treat it. They didn't take me to a doctor. So I was just kind of like always having panic and anxiety attacks, and I never got any treatment. I just always just thought something was wrong. I didn't know what. So fast forward a couple of years, I'm 16. The panic attacks kind of went away. I didn't really get them that much. Um, but I'm driving out on highways, and all of a sudden one day I just get this massive, I start sweating, trembling, like I don't know what's going on. So I just turn around and I just book home. And after that, I ended up finding out that I had panic attacks. Well, unfortunately, I didn't get really the proper treatment. I never really dealt with the panic attacks. I just always thought there was something wrong when I got into a car. So nothing really was ever done. So here I was, it was like a couple of years ago, it was like 32, and here I am still having this problem as I'm driving. I find that I have a hard time going more than like 20, 30 miles away from my house, or if I get on a highway, I get freaked out because you have this fear of what if you can't turn around, what if you can't get back. So if you have any of those problems, I want to talk to you about 3 ways that I've kind of overcome them, and now I'm able to drive a lot farther. I'm working now where I actually have to drive sometimes about 200 miles a day. Um, yeah, I have to get on some highways sometimes, and I've had to learn to deal with it. So the first way that I have learned to deal with it, and you probably, if you've ever dealt with anxiety, you probably understand this, is just deep breathing. So I get in the car, I have to drive somewhere, and you know what happens? You start to get anxiety, you start to get lightheaded, and you start breathing into your chest here. So what I do is right when I get in the car, if I know it's going to be a long drive or I might get anxious, I just make it a habit of just breathing as deep as I can in through my nose, holding it for a couple of seconds and just letting it out and just trying to relax the whole way. And so that's been a big way. Number two, I don't know if you've noticed, but when you have anxiety or depression, typically what happens is you can't really see me here, but you end up slouching, your shoulders are down, your head's down, and you're sending signals to your brain that something is wrong. So number two of what I do is when I'm in my car, I sit up as straight as an air, as straight as I can. I put my shoulders back, keep my head up, and I'm breathing deep. You're actually sending signals to your brain that everything is okay because when you're driving, there really isn't anything wrong. It's all what you're thinking about. Um, so that's number two. And I'll tell you what, those two combined, I mean, I get into a car, even if I know it's going to be a long way, and I really don't get much anxiety anymore. And if I do, it's much easier to get me through, because when you have anxiety, there's sort of this peak you have to get through. It's like the first couple of minutes, okay, it's not that bad. But you get to this peak where it's either like you want to turn around, they call it fight or flight. So you get to this point where you're like, should I turn around or should I just keep going through? And I found that those two combined, you get really through that fight or flight phase where you're just able to keep going. So those are the two keys that are huge, and they've been very helpful for me getting through it. Number three, and I've read a lot of books on anxiety, depression, things. Number three is really just exposure. And what that means is you just have to do it. You have to get in your car and you have to go. So what I found useful is say you're afraid to go on a highway because you can't turn around. What I've done is maybe get on a highway where there's an exit maybe 5, 10 minutes down and just say, look, this time I'm just going to go one exit down, sit there. And what you need to do, it's called exposure therapy. If you're afraid, to go one exit down, just go one or maybe even two exits down. And all you need to do is just sit there until you feel absolutely calm, and you're going to start sending signals to your brain that, hey, this is okay. And you might get an anxiety or panic attack, and that's okay. You need to just relax, bring yourself down from that anxious state. And one more real quick kind of bonus tip here. I always keep, a pad of paper and a pen with me. And what happens is if I do get an anxiety attack, because it does happen sometimes, especially when I'm going much further than I anticipated, um, and say I start having like negative or anxious thoughts, I'll start writing them down. And what you'll start to see is some of the thoughts are just ridiculous, and you can just get rid of them immediately, and the anxiety goes away. So I hope that helps. If it helps, please leave a thumbs up below. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. I'll try to put some more videos out on how I've dealt with this stuff over the last 15, 16 years. I am leaving a link to a book down below. It's really helpful if you need help with anxiety, depression, and driving. So good luck, everybody. Keep going.